never thought I'd be the type of man to share my personal life online, but here I am, typing this with shaking hands at 3 a.m. in a hotel room that was supposed to be our paradise. "David, you're overthinking this," Jake had said just 3 days ago, adjusting my tie before the ceremony. "Emma loves you, man. Look at her, she's glowing." I remember laughing nervously. "I just want everything to be perfect." "It will be," he assured me, patting my shoulder. "You've got this, brother." The wedding was everything we'd dreamed of. White roses cascaded down the altar, and when Emma walked down the aisle in her grandmother's vintage dress, I felt my breath catch. "You look incredible," I whispered when she reached me. "So do you, handsome," she whispered back, her eyes sparkling with what I thought was pure joy. Even her maid of honor, Lisa, was crying, actual tears streaming down her face as we exchanged vows. Emma's usually stern mother, Patricia, was beaming from the front row, and my parents looked genuinely happy despite their reservations about Emma's social media obsession. "I promise to love you through everything," I said during my vows, meaning every word. "And I promise to be honest with you always," Emma replied, looking directly into my eyes. My sister Sarah, who'd never been Emma's biggest fan, even gave her blessing at the reception. "Maybe I was wrong about her," she told me during our dance. "She seems really happy." "We both are," I said, spinning Sarah around the dance floor. As we boarded the plane to Bali, Emma was already on her phone. "Beginning our forever journey with my perfect husband," she typed, showing me the caption before posting. I laughed and kissed her cheek. "You and your social media." "It's important to document our happiness," she said, snuggling into my shoulder. "I want everyone to see how perfect we are together." I thud. But her enthusiasm was endearing. I had no idea that in less than 72 hours, I'd discover the woman I'd just married had been planning my destruction all along. "This place is incredible," Emma squealed as we entered our villa, immediately starting to take photos. "Look at this view, David." I watched her pose by the infinity pool, then by the ocean-facing window, then on our private terrace. Each photo was carefully staged, perfectly lit. "My perfect husband brought me to paradise," she captioned one shot of us together. Within minutes, it had dozens of likes. "You're really going all out with the posts," I said, trying to keep my tone light. "Of course. This is our honeymoon. I want to share our happiness with everyone." The first 2 days felt like a dream. We explored ancient temples in the morning, lounged by the pool in the afternoon, and danced to live music at beachside restaurants in the evening. "I love you so much, David," Emma said constantly, always when other people were around to hear. "I love you too," I'd reply, meaning it completely. But on the third morning, everything changed. I woke up early and decided to surprise her with breakfast in bed. As I quietly approached our villa, I heard her voice coming from the bathroom. "I miss you too, Ryan," she was whispering into her phone. My blood turned to ice. Ryan, her friend from college. "This is all just for show, you know that," she continued. "The photos, the posts, it's what everyone expects to see." I pressed myself against the wall, barely breathing. "David has no idea," she laughed softly. "He's so trusting, it's almost pathetic. After we get back, we can figure out how to handle this. Maybe I'll wait a few months before filing for divorce." The words hit me like physical blows. "I need to think about the financial arrangements first," she said. "Make sure I get everything I deserve." My legs nearly gave out. 10 more minutes of listening to my wife plan my destruction while I stood frozen in paradise, watching my world collapse. When Emma emerged from the bathroom, she was back to her cheerful honeymoon persona. "Good morning, husband," she chirped, wrapping her arms around my neck. "Did you sleep well?" I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but something held me back. "Good morning, wife," I managed, the word tasting like poison. "I was thinking we could go to that temple today," she said, already reaching for her phone. "The lighting will be perfect for photos." "Sure," I said, watching her scroll through her notifications. "Look, our sunset photo from last night got 500 likes," she showed me the screen. "Everyone's saying how perfect we look together." "Perfect," I echoed hollowly. The rest of that day was torture. Every kiss felt like betrayal. Every "I love you" was another knife in my back. "You're being quiet today," Emma observed over lunch. "Everything okay, babe?" "Just taking it all in," I said, processing everything. Well, don't process too much, she laughed, taking another selfie. This is supposed to be fun. That evening, while she showered, I finally looked at her phone. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through her messages with Ryan. The affair had been going on for 6 months. 6 months of lies, deception, and planning. Messages from our wedding day made me physically sick. Got through the ceremony, she'd texted him. David was so emotional during his vows, so clueless. Ryan had replied, "Just remember, this is temporary. Soon you'll have his money and we can be together." But the worst message was from 2 weeks before our wedding. "Don't worry, baby. This marriage is just temporary. David's going to pay for my lifestyle for a while, and then I'll take half of everything and come to you." I screenshot everything, my photographer's instincts kicking in even through my devastation. I didn't sleep that night. While Emma dreamed peacefully beside me, I sat on our balcony uncovering months of deception. Her phone revealed everything, not just Ryan, but a whole network of lies. Expensive purchases I'd never seen, secret credit cards, conversations with Lisa about manipulating me. "David's so easy to handle," she'd texted Lisa. "He believes everything I tell him." Lisa had replied, "Just don't get caught. Ryan's worth the risk, but David's bank account is worth more." I found hotel receipts from weekends she'd claimed to be visiting her sick aunt. Instead, luxury resorts with Ryan, paid for with my credit card. "David's so boring, but he's stable," she'd written to someone named Michelle. "Ryan's exciting, but he's broke. This way, I get the best of both worlds." Every message was another revelation of calculated betrayal. Our entire relationship had been a performance on her part. I opened my laptop and began typing, my fingers moving faster than my racing thoughts. If Emma wanted to play the social media game, I was about to show her what real transparency looked like. The next morning, Emma was unusually affectionate. "You seem quiet, babe," she said, stroking my hair over breakfast. "Are you okay?" "Just thinking about how much my life is going to change," I replied, the first honest thing either of us had said in days. She smiled and kissed my forehead. "All good changes, I hope." If only she knew. I spent that day putting my plan into motion. First, I emailed my lawyer, Mark. "David, I'm so sorry," came his quick reply. "Document everything and don't confront her until you're back on U.S. soil. We need to protect your assets immediately." Next, I contacted my boss, Tom, about needing time off for personal reasons. "Whatever you need, David," he assured me. "Take care of yourself." But the most important decision was still ahead. I stared at my social media profiles, platforms I rarely used, but Emma constantly monitored. She'd built our relationship's public image carefully, curating every post to show our perfect love story.
Thousands of people had celebrated our wedding, believed in our happiness. They deserved the truth. That evening, as Emma showered, I wrote the most difficult post of my life. "Hi everyone. This isn't the post I thought I'd be writing for my honeymoon, but I believe in honesty, even when it's painful." I wrote about the affair, the lies, the financial manipulation. I kept it factual, not vindictive, but I didn't hide the devastating reality that my finger hovered over the post button. Once I published this, there would be no going back. That I hit post at exactly 11:47 p.m. Bali time, while Emma hummed our favorite song in the shower. Within minutes, my phone exploded with notifications. Sarah commented first, "Oh my God, David. I'm so sorry. I'm here for you." Then Jake, "Brother, I had no idea. Coming to get you if you need me to." Strangers began sharing my story, adding their own experiences of betrayal. The post went viral faster than I'd imagined possible. When Emma came out of the bathroom, she was completely unaware her world was imploding online. "Ready for dinner?" she asked cheerfully. I nodded, watching her grab her phone for her compulsive social media check. The moment she opened her apps, I watched her face transform. Color drained from her cheeks, her eyes widened in horror, her hands began shaking. "David," she whispered, staring at her screen. "What did you do?" For the first time in our relationship, I saw the real Emma, not the performed version, but the terrified woman who'd just been exposed. "I told the truth," I said calmly. "Something you should have tried months ago." She scrolled frantically through hundreds of comments and shares. Her friends were tagging her, demanding explanations. Her mother had called 6 times. Ryan's panicked messages flashed on her screen. "You've ruined everything," she screamed, dropping her phone and lunging toward me. "How could you do this to me?" The absurdity of her outrage would have been funny if it wasn't so tragic. "How could I do this to you?" I stood up, feeling stronger than I had in months. "Emma, you destroyed our marriage before it even began. You used me, lied to me, and stole from me. All I did was stop pretending everything was okay." She began crying then, not her delicate manipulative tears, but ugly, desperate sobs. "Please, David. Delete the post. We can work this out. I'll end things with Ryan. I'll change." But it was too late for that conversation. The truth was out, and there was no putting it back. The next 24 hours were chaos. Emma barely left the bathroom, spending hours on damage control calls. "This is all your fault." I heard her yelling at someone, probably Ryan. "You said David would never find out." Meanwhile, my post exploded across platforms. News bloggers picked up the story, calling it the most honest honeymoon post ever, and a masterclass in public accountability. The comments section became a support group for betrayal survivors. "You gave me the courage to leave my cheating husband," wrote one woman. "Seeing you refuse to hide the truth made me realize I didn't have to protect my ex-wife's reputation while she destroyed my life," commented another man. My phone rang constantly, reporters, friends, distant relatives. My parents flew out from Denver immediately, and Sarah was already researching divorce lawyers. The most unexpected call came from Emma's sister Jessica. "David, I'm so sorry," she said, crying. "I knew something was wrong, but I never imagined this. Emma's always been selfish, but this is beyond anything I thought she was capable of." Even some of Emma's friends reached out privately to apologize. Her college roommate Amanda sent a long message explaining that she tried to warn Emma her behavior was destructive, but Emma had cut her off months ago. By the second day, Emma's social media had gone completely silent, the first time since I'd known her that she'd gone hours without posting. "Are you sure you want to check out early, sir?" the concierge asked gently when I requested our departure. "We could arrange separate accommodations if that would help." The kindness of strangers was overwhelming, especially compared to the calculated cruelty I'd been living with. As I packed my bags, Emma finally emerged from the bathroom, looking like she hadn't slept in days. "Please don't leave me," Emma said, her voice hoarse from crying. She looked smaller somehow, without the confidence her deception had given her. "I know I messed up, but we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll block Ryan. I'll delete all my social media." I stopped packing and looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time since our wedding. "Emma, you didn't mess up. You planned this. 4 months. You married me knowing you were going to betray me. You took my money, my trust, my love, and you threw it all away for someone else." She sat down on the bed we'd shared for 4 nights, looking defeated. "I was scared," she whispered. "Ryan is exciting, but he's not stable like you. I thought I could have both. I thought you'd never find out." "That doesn't make it better," I replied. "It makes it worse. You weren't just cheating, you were planning to use me until you could safely leave. You were going to let me believe we were happy while you laughed about me behind my back." For the first time, Emma seemed to understand the full scope of what she'd done. "I see that now," she said quietly. "I see how horrible I've been. But David, I do love you. Maybe not the way I should, but..." "No," I interrupted. "You don't get to redefine love now. Love doesn't involve lying, stealing, and humiliating the person you claim to care about. What you did wasn't love. It was selfish and cruel. I zipped up my suitcase and called for a taxi to the airport. What happens now? She asked. Now I go home and start rebuilding my life, I said. And you face the consequences of your choices. The world knows who you really are now, Emma. No more hiding behind fake social media posts and manipulative tears. As I walked toward the door, she called out one last time, I'm sorry, David. I really am. I paused at the threshold. I believe you're sorry, I said without turning around. You're sorry you got caught. But I'm not sorry I told the truth. 6 months later, I'm writing this final update from my new apartment, a place Emma has never been, filled with furniture she's never touched. The divorce was finalized last month. Thanks to the evidence I'd gathered and her public admission of the affair, I protected most of my assets. Emma tried to fight initially, but her lawyer convinced her that her social media activity made her case impossible to defend. Ryan left her 2 weeks after we returned from Bali. Apparently, being with a publicly exposed cheater wasn't as appealing as their secret affair had been. Emma moved back with her mother and has stayed mostly off social media since that. I heard from Jessica that she's in therapy now, which I genuinely hope helps her become a better person. My original post has been shared over 50,000 times and continues inspiring people in similar situations. I receive weekly messages from people thanking me for showing them they don't have to suffer betrayal in silence. Some have left toxic relationships, others have found courage to demand honesty from their partners. That I'm dating again, slowly and carefully, but with hope. Sarah introduced me to her coworker Kate, who's patient with my trust issues and appreciates my commitment to honesty. It's different from what I had with Emma, but it's real in a way that relationship never was. Do you ever regret posting that night? Kate asked me recently over dinner. Never, I said without hesitation. Emma chose to make our relationship a public performance. I simply chose to tell the truth about what was really happening behind the curtain. People often ask if I regret speaking out so publicly. The answer is simple, never. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to protect someone else's lies with your silence.